Hello and welcome back to Teacher Gets Taught, and it is Football Manager 2024, and this will be episode 2. So, where did we leave off? Well, since I decided to stay with YSCC Yokohama, we've had a bit of an up and down time of it. We have picked up a few league wins. We've also won against a non-league team in the All Japan Cup. That was a comfortable win. But we have also lost some games. So, of particular note, we lost to Urawa Reds. And this game was particularly fraught because we were 3-0 down after 5 minutes. And then we managed to get back to 3-3 by playing a heavily attacking system, and then did what I usually do, which is continue to roll the dice, and we got absolutely slammed. So they scored another 3, so that was a heavy league defeat. We've also lost in the League Cup round of 16, first leg against G-Osaka, and we've got this game coming up in today's episode. A couple of tough away games, but reasonably tight in terms of scoreline against Kobe and Sapporo. And pleasingly, we beat another team from Osaka, Osaka. We won 2-1, although that was really, quite frankly, against the run of play. Possession was fairly even. Okay, not a huge amount in XG, but they definitely had the lion's share of shots and were just quite profligate with it. Pretty wasteful stuff. So since then, if I go to transfer history, we've had a couple of departures. Jonas Hakkinen has gone to a Finnish international play. He won his first Finnish international cap fairly recently. Centre back, he has gone on loan to a Finnish club, SJK, with the option of £130,000 fee to pay at the end of the loan. There's a small fee there, and they're paying the majority of his wages. Also, our third choice goalkeeper, Sam Hornby, who we bought from England. We bought him from Colchester and hasn't played a great deal. Really did nothing wrong, but he's just not as good as the other goalkeepers. He's 32, which again, not a problem for a goalkeeper. Peak years, but essentially he just wasn't as good as the two goalkeepers that we currently have in. If I just go to the squad planner instead, so we have David Harrington, who I mentioned in the last episode. He's rather unhappy and unsettled in Japan, and Gakuto Kawanishi, if we can say his name right, who is a real up-and-comer with high levels of potential. So David Harrington, at the moment, he is, he's not a happy bunny. He is unhappy at failing to learn to speak Japanese. He can speak basic Japanese, which is good. That's fine. Oh, this is a new development. He's pleased to be in the dressing room's core social group, but recognises he has little presence within it. He has no strong feelings about the squad support from the manager, which remains at an excellent level. Okay, well, lovely. But he's a little bit unsettled, so I don't know if we're going to be able to hold on to him. So Hornby's gone to Millwall, essentially. I probably could have got more money for him, but I managed to eke out £65,000, and that was done through an intermediary. And I think the guidance on that was the max you're going to get is 65,000. So we went for that. So happy days. We do have a series of transfers coming in the July transfer window. So on the 5th of July. We have one, two, three, four, five players joining. I would like to have more defenders because I feel like our defense is fairly porous, but I'm just not seeing um, any kind of decent value in the market at the moment. But we are bringing in Sean van Eerden, who is Japanese nationality. There's got to be some Dutch there. No, well, it sounds like a Dutch name. He is also eligible to play for Canada. He looks like a rather tidy player, some fairly decent mentals, decent physicals, and can do all the main things in terms of defending. Technically, he can do that, right? So 3.5 stars. And the scout, who is probably going to be wildly wrong, believes that his potential ability is as a good J1 league player. So currently leading J2 league, and that is absolutely fine. I think he will be an improvement on what we've got. We are also bringing in a Kuwaiti international in the form of Khaled Sharman, who has essentially been brought in just to bolster. Well, I see him as a potential ball-winning midfielder to back up Mizuno and McLaughlin, who can also play in that role. But also, I think if we end up playing that different system where we have the defensive midfielder, then we can also put him in there. So he's on a free. It just felt like it made sense. Again, the scouting information suggests that he's a good J2 league player. Unlikely to improve, but we'll see. Crucially for me, he is a consistent performer. I'm not too worried about the susceptibility to injuries, and of course he has to learn the language, but 30 years of age brings in a bit of experience. Happy days. Next up we have Ryoga Takayanagi. So he is one for the future. I've spent fairly big on him. So he is coming to us on a deal which is in excess of his transfer value, but that's what I felt I needed to pay in the negotiations to get that done. Principally, I don't see him as a winger at all out on this left side. I see him as an inside forward because we just lack any real quality in that role. So whilst he's one for the future, I'm sure he'll get a fair amount of minutes, probably primarily off the bench, but this is where we are going to train him, and hopefully he can be one for the next 2 or 3 years. And then up front, we're probably slightly overstocked now. We've got Yuma Imaya, who I think I mentioned in the last episode. He's coming in on loan. There is an option to buy him at the end of that. I don't know if I'm going to have the transfer funds, quite frankly. And I can't remember what the terms of that was, but there is an option to pay for him if that kind of works out. So he's an advanced forward, which works fantastically well with my particular choice of tactic, and he looks fairly solid across the board there. Crucially, he's got good acceleration, fair amount of pace, and work rate, determination, decision making, all those things, good technique. So I think he will be absolutely fine. And then I took a punt on this guy, Danilo, who is 19, Brazilian international. He'll be coming in. Fantastic physicals for this level. Some of the right things in terms of mentals. He could be. I could change the system slightly to accommodate him as a pressing forward. As my preferred choice of an advanced forward, not great in terms of his dribbling, or his passing, or indeed his work rate. But I'm hoping that the fact that I've got a fairly yeah, as I was saying, because I've got a fairly hard-working squad, I'm hoping that that will rub off on him, and so we can see that particular attribute climb. But if nothing else, I think that he's someone who um, will certainly have some resale value down the line. So it was worth a punt. Whether that works out or not, don't know. And then of course, um, Nagano, who is all set to join Akita in that transfer window. He's 25. He did really, from memory, did really quite well in the J2 league. He was chipped in a fair amount of goals, and had a good average rating across the season, but he just really hasn't had a look in this year, rightly or wrongly. So he's going to Akita for 200,000, which has facilitated some of those transfers. So with all that said and done, we are going to just cycle through the things that we need to cycle through in order to get to match day. So I will we'll just cut to that game rather than having to watch all this nonsense. Okay, and we're back. So we've got the second leg against G-Osaka. We're 1-0 down from the first leg, but we are at home. Now, crucially, um, we are expected by everyone to lose this game. The board and the supporters expect us to lose, but we're going to go and give it a good go. One person I didn't mention earlier was I was in negotiations to sign Richard Taylor, who is an English centre back. I was slightly concerned about the number of foreign players, bringing in more foreign players, because I've got a Kuwaiti and a Brazilian joining the squad. And there is a limit to the amount of number of foreign players that you can include in the team. Some immovables are Harrington, either starting or on the bench. Paul McLaughlin is going to play. Kwon Gi Pyo is a decent player, but there are players that can play on the right instead of him. Carlos Arroyo, purely because there's just a real lack of quality on that left side of the attack, and because he is so well suited to playing as that inside forward, really he has to be in there. And Nathan Odoconiero, again, there are other people who can play up front, but he is the best. He's the best striker that we've got at the moment. So inevitably, they are the ones that do get in. So we are really, really stacked. But I did have a look at Richard Taylor, because he was better than a lot of the other centre backs that I was also looking at. And I actually pulled out of a deal for a fullback who was asking for a lot of money, but I cancelled it because I wanted to scramble and try and get him in on a free, and it just did not work out. So he's gone to Livingston in Scotland. But c'est la vie. One thing I've learned from playing Football Manager is that there are plenty of fish in the sea. So the way I'm going to set this up, um, I did try playing balanced in the last game, and it did actually work. Generally, I like to play positive or attacking, but as it is, um, I don't I don't really tend to like balance, but it did work amazingly. So, okay, so what I tend to like to do, I will just do a quick pick and then see if I like it or not. Inevitably, I don't. So there will be some things I imagine that will change. Um, Actually, that's looking fine. The only thing I'd probably change there is I'm going to put Shah on the right side and Terasaka on the left because he is. Oh no, he's right-footed. Who would have thought it? Okay, well let's completely change that because I think Shah, yeah, can play with either foot. Perfect. That shows you how well I know my team. They always mess around with the substitute bench. So I'm just going to take a quick look here. And see if there's anything glaring missing. Majima, yeah, he's absolutely fine. He can play either side. Show Yoshida, fine. Um, yeah, yeah. There seems to be a lack of width on offer here, so I think what we're going to do is we are going to put in. Oh yeah, Nagana can come out. He's on the way out. In fact, that is one admission I don't particularly like. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gondo on the right. I just think he's better. And I think that's what pretty much do it. I think that's going to do it. So this is the team that we're going to work with. Um, I think that's essentially the strongest team that I can put out. So we're going to submit and yeah, right, we've got the foreign player problem. Right, that's why he came out. Okay, Finatsu, you are going to come in because you can play on the right hand side. And actually, you've chipped in with a couple of goals of late, haven't you? Yeah, last game. You've got an assist the game before. So, yeah, that is going to work rather nicely, I think. He is going to struggle to see out the match. Okay, is that okay? Uh, hmm. Yeah, do you know what? I think we're going to put Majima in. Okay, well, you've seen me and ah my way through my team selections, so not entirely flawless, but this is a warts and all run of Football Manager, I think. Okay, I really am quite beleaguered with all this team talk stuff. It's always the same sort of thing that you have to say. So there we go. Let's skip and let's get started. So should fly through this. It's just key highlights, and we'll see what happens. Interesting. Interesting setup with my forward taking the free kick, so hopefully that will. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that's happening. Why he's taking the free kicks. He's definitely put in a couple of decent free kicks. And Matsuyama's got a goal. Yes, there we go. Has the flag stayed down? Yes, it has. Wonderful. Matsumura, what a man. See, some things experience just has to provide. He's wily at the age of 32, that guy. Happy days, wonderful goal, very good, really good start. So let's see if we can get them back on their heels. I've been playing around with what I want on my touchline tablet, so and I think I've settled on the fact that I do want to see their formation. The visualizer, it's not that especially useful, but you do get some information in terms of where the action is taking place. So because I've got my condition and the match ratings down at the bottom, I kind of feel like that will do just absolutely fine. There's not a lot happening here. They've had a couple of shots, and but all in all, could really do with another goal, I think. Um, I'm going to have to keep an eye on the condition of some of these boys because their condition really does fall off. But I think that's really down to the way that we play because we are a pressing team and we press high. It does absolutely knacker out. the boys playing up top. So we'll keep an eye on Arroyo and Matsumara, but also centre midfield as well. That tends to be where the majority of my substitutions take place. Well, this is really not a very interesting game that I'm featuring in this episode, because since that goal, nothing has happened. Not one highlight has been shown. Okay, so well, we're on par for the tie so far. I think I'm going to go against what the assistant is recommending, and I'm going to go with this. It's a similar. It's a very kind of typical story with this team, that we don't get a huge amount of opportunities, and that's something that I'm really going to need to look at. Normally, the way that I become successful in Football Manager is basically spending my way to success, and there'll be a turnover until I get the players that I'm happy with. Tactically, I don't tend to mess around and tinker with things, but I completely respect people that do. Okay, so we are just going to we're just going to kind of go for it and make substitutions in. So I mean, what this is pretty much a standard vertical tiki taka. We're playing a lot centrally, narrow system, just because of the short passing style. But I am going to up the tempo, because that's what I want to do. I think it's probably just a bit too slow, and everything else is kind of set up to high press. So I'm going to run these lads into the ground, which I don't know if anyone else finds that towards the end of the season they're all absolutely gassed. So if you keep playing the way that with that kind of intensity, they're just absolutely knackered by the end of the season. So there tends to be a fall off in the last 2 or 3 months. Okay, so I've got my eye on Odacuñero, because he is having a rather underwhelming game, but sometimes when I get a bit twitchy and I want to take him off, he'll pop up with a goal. So I'm kind of hoping that the next 7 or 8 minutes that he's going to do something. But Arroyo is starting to fail, as in flag is yeah, he's going to need substituting. Yeah, again, not a huge amount happening. We're dominating the possession, so I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. So we're going to stop it there and then take a bit of pause. Okay, so well, I am going to switch Goke for Arroyo, so he'll play as an inverted winger. I'm going to put Finatsu out on the right, and I'm going to bring a bit of energy into the midfield. So I'll bring on Endo. So that's like for like. He does tend to come up with something. Endo, he's fairly solid, and I may leave it there. I think there might be more tweaks to come. I want to keep Matsumura on. He looks really, really tired, but we're just going to keep him on for a little bit longer. So I'm going to hope that does it. Okay, my God, finally we have a highlight. McLaughlin, okay, well, it's half a chance, wasn't it, really? It's been a bit of a nothing game, but now the highlights come. That's when my team gets tired, so feeling not so confident, especially when you have this sort of thing. So this is where the problem happens. A lot of teams that play against me get a lot of joy out on the wing. Yeah, there we go. There's the equaliser. So they are winning on aggregate 2-1. And again, so the right back. Let's see if I can click on him. Now Finazzi's coming back to help. That's all. So yeah, Majima is playing quite they're quite narrow, so they've come out to help, and they just haven't stopped it between the two of them. Okay. Right, okay, so things are now going to need to change. He's having a good game, but he's not going to be able to last. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Mizuno on. I'm going to put Endo up there, and I'm going to play McLaughlin as a box-to-box midfielder just to get him charging in. I think that is pretty much the best that I can do. Although that said, McLaughlin is also knackered. So, yeah, I don't want to play that far back. Or do I? As a Mazzala, yeah. I don't know. Okay, well, I think I need to at least keep someone on who's having a good game. So we'll see what transpires in the next 10 minutes or so. So I think I'm just going to have to up this to attacking. So we're just going to have to go for it. Okay. This is always the scary thing, that when you change your mentality, you start chasing the game. Sometimes it can really fall away from you, and sometimes it's best to stay. If you back your team, you might stay on the same mentality. But I've genuinely thought in the last 20 minutes I've really gotten to lows. So again, yeah, I I don't understand. Um, I don't understand why someone is able to essentially just have all the time and freedom in the world, and it's because Gondo has just not really dealt with that at all. So we are very much on the way out here. So it really does not matter what I do now. I'm going to bring Endo back, and I am going to bring on Ozeki, and I'm going to use him as a shadow striker because I don't think that's going to work necessarily the other way around. Yeah, it might do. God, he's having such a bad game. Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said, it's maybe slightly futile, but I am just going to give up the ghost here, I think. Was that a highlight because the keeper put everyone's hearts in their mouths? Uh, we shall see. Right. Come on, let's get a goal back. It's actually a good ball from Nathan. Okay, let's see if we can work with something here. Yeah, okay, nice. Very, very nice. Okay, we are just going to go for it now. Let's see if we can pull a goal back in the next 10 minutes or so. Probably not. No. Pardon me, just kind of coughing down the microphone, but also laughing at the same time. Yeah, oh well, never mind. We'll just keep it. It might destroy morale completely, but it was worth a go. It was worth a go. We weren't supposed to win this game. Last 16. Oh, you could have redeemed yourself, Gondo. Shoddy defending. You made me rue putting you on. Should have kept the other guy on, Terasaka. Dear oh dear. Oh well, never mind. What can you do? What can you do? My assistant manager is very happy clappy. It's a common thing. It's always we're happy. So let's try and boost the morale a bit. There. Put a arm around the collective shoulder. Never mind. Okay, so we have slipped down the league a little bit, but that's because everyone else was playing and we weren't. So we have no more League Cup. We have just got the All Japan Cup left, and that is absolutely fine. So, looking ahead, hmm, I may well come back for Nagoya Grampus. Wow, sure, why not? That's how you kickstart a YouTube channel, isn't it? You just feature games where you're going to get absolutely battered. Yeah, so we may well come back from Nagoya, but certainly there will be another couple of games in the rest of this season for sure. I'd like to certainly like to show some games once we've had a run with our new boys coming in. So if it's not Nagoya in the cup, it may be um, Kyoto, sorry, or Kashiwa when we've got our new fellas in that are coming in on the 5th. Oh no, they're coming in on the 5th of July. So yeah, maybe it will be Nagoya in the league. Anyway, so I've just verbally gone through what I may well do. In terms of the rest of the season, then, what I'm hoping for essentially is survival. That is really all I can hope for now. I am not remotely bothered about the cups. I think especially because we're playing Nagoya, who are a handy team, um, and yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of mileage in the cups. To be honest, it's all about the league. It's all about survival. We are 1 point above the drop zone, although we do have 2 games in hand. So, but we do need to convert those games in hand. It's no good having them and just absolutely spurning them because I would like to have a bit more comfort when it comes to the league, so we can consolidate ourselves as a club in J1 and ultimately just start to look to make progress. So in the next couple of seasons, we can be at the right end of things. Well, thank you very much for watching. And if you have seen anything particularly heinous or particularly heartening that you've seen in today's episode, please do leave a comment. And if you want to help out a very embryonic new channel, then by all means, like and subscribe. I promise that the quality will just continue to get better. All right, thanks very much, folks. Take it easy.